Sounds good.
Okay, now we're good.
Okay, thank you. All right, welcome everyone to the Governance Regular Standing Committee meeting. It is July 14th, 2026, and the first item is to call the meeting to order at 8:32 a.m. And for attendance, I'm not sure, sorry, who's in Modesto, if it's Laura and Amy. If one of you ladies please can record attendance.
You got it. Erica Milton?
Here.
Jennifer Louis Monzon?
I'm here.
Kristen Corrales?
Here.
Okay. First item is the approval of the July 14, 2026 Governance Regular Standing Committee meeting agenda. Can I have a motion, please?
I, Kristen Corrales, motion to approve the agenda.
I, Erica Melton, second it.
Roll call, please. Amy?
Kristen Corrales?
Yes.
Jennifer Louis Monzon?
Yes.
Erica Milton?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved. And then 1D, approval of the May 12th, 2026 Governance Regular Standing Committee meeting minutes. Does anyone have any discussion for that?
I motion, do you want to have a discussion on them or?
No.
Okay.
If no discussion, please motion.
I, Kristen Corrales, motion to approve the minutes of the Governance Regular Standing Committee meeting from May 12th.
I, Erica Melton, second that.
Roll call, please, Amy.
Jennifer Louis Monzon?
Yes.
Erica Milton?
Yes.
Kristen Corrales?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. 1E, hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Is there anyone in Modesto or Waterford? We do not have anyone here in Union City. Okay. And then 1F, hearing of the public on agenda items. Same thing. We don't have anyone here in Union City. I don't know if anyone's at your resource centers.
We've got no one over here either, Jennifer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to 2A. These are in section 2, items scheduled for information and discussion. So for A, we have review of the board member website page. The one reason I wanted to bring this up was just because since the team, they worked on updating our website, that was happening. And then kind of in conjunction, this has kind of been in the works where I had talked previously about updating the website regarding the interest form, also adding kind of a like, what do we do as a board? Like, what is our role? And then also later on in the agenda to talk about a job description. So I apologize for like the last minute. I figure since we're not, voting on it or anything, but in the documentation tab, I have uploaded a few items which were, and these are pretty old. I had worked on this like probably over a year ago. One item is for the interest form. So if everyone wants to kind of take a peek at that, just to kind of get an idea of where I was, like the direction I was going in for the interest form. I know that we have a more, kind of simpler form, but I was hoping that we could potentially elaborate on it just so that we can get a little more information from people and their backgrounds and skills and expertise. So the first item that I'm looking at, and I don't know if we want, let's see, can I share? Maybe. Oh, I can share, perhaps. So this is the document that I'm looking at, which is, I think it's called Draft Interest Form Board Member. So basically, if everyone can just kind of take a look at it, and then maybe next month we can, next month we can decide whether we want to move forward with this or not. Or I don't know, I'm not sure if we have to even vote on it, but yeah, I just wanted to put it out there and have you guys take a peek at it. Provide feedback, if there's any additional questions that we should be asking, or if there are things that maybe we don't want to ask. So the first section is just all the contact information. We do, like, the second section is asking if the person has any association with any of our schools, and if so, how. The third section is background and expertise. So asking about professional background or relevant experience. The second question would be a multi-select checkbox, which would ask, the different types of experience that the person has had. And this is anywhere from, financial, tech, fundraising, governance, educational background, and so forth. Asking if the person's ever served on a board of directors before, and if so, please describe. And if they're familiar with, what a board member does in general regarding fiduciary duties and strategic oversight. And then if they have any potential conflicts of interest, if they were to serve on the board. A section about kind of, like, why do they want to, like, why are they interested? Why do they want to join the board? Talking a little bit about our school. And then, asking about committing time. I think, in this section, I don't know, we may want to be more detailed as far as, like, how much time serving the board would take, for a person. So that's something we may want to consider adding into this, or maybe we just add into the job description. And then lastly, just kind of more of a open-ended, like, section 5 is just additional information. So, like, comments, just like random comments that they might want to share with us that are not included in the upper sections. And then if they have a resume or CV to attach, then they can upload that.
So Jennifer,
yeah.
I think it's very thorough. I really like it. I think it's very thorough. One thing I thought we could add to it is something about, like, if they've been a past employee with us,
Oh, yeah.
because they have to have been separated at least 12 months.
Okay.
So we could add that in here.
Yep.
My only thing I'd like you guys to consider is the reason we had such a short form before is because a lot of times it's like intimidating to get this, and then they put it off and don't get it filled out, and we feel like we miss out on some good candidates. But at the same time, we know being on the board, you do have to take the time to do these things. So I'm wondering if we should have both. If we should start with, like, a short form to gauge interest.
Yeah.
So we could pull
Yeah.
some of these things onto a short form.
Mhm.
And then once we have that and they're interested, then ask them to go and do, like, the second part of the
Yeah.
form,
Yeah.
which would be gathering more details.
Yeah. I like that. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, because that way we can get that initial interest and then really see from there.
Okay. Maybe, what are you thinking? Like, maybe the first and second question, and then, sorry, that's a question. First, second sections. Maybe we could pull, like, a question from more like a higher level question from maybe section, like maybe one from section 3, one from section 4, kind of like
Yeah, just to get a little more information
Yeah.
about them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so, like, maybe either the first or second bullet, like, maybe it would be easier if they just do, like, check boxes instead of having to type in a long answer, maybe the second question.
Yeah, and have it as check boxes. I like that.
Yeah. And then section 4, we could do something about motivation and alignment, but maybe have it more like a checkbox as well. So we could do like a motivation one, like why do you want to do this? And then we can provide some like questions, like I want to help the school. I'm interested in this, or we can maybe come up with some pre-fabricated answers, and then they can like check one or more, maybe,
Yeah,
just to make it brief.
I like that.
And then maybe we just keep section 5 so that that's where we have the open text where it's like comment only, comments, like, is there anything else you wanted us to know? Or if you have any questions, and then we can still have them attach their resume or CV. I mean, because it'll be optional anyways. And because someone might be super gung-ho about it, like, yeah, here it is. So I don't know, something like that. But I like that idea, having the 2-tier. I think that's a good idea. What does everyone else think?
So then they would fill out a shorter form for interest, and then this would be called what then? When would this come in?
I think
Would this be like the
if
application?
yeah, kind of like the application. So I think like once we do receive the interest form, maybe we have like a response, like we would provide a response to the person interested, and just say, thank you for your interest. Just so that, I don't know if we would do any screening at that time, and then we would say, just so that we can get some more information from you, here's, our follow-up
Okay.
questions.
Application, yeah.
Yeah, and then that way, because I think if we can, like, I would like to hear more about the person before the interview, because I feel like in the interview we're going in so, like, what has happened in the past, we're going in so cold. So we're asking kind of these questions in the interview, which is not bad. We can still, but I think it'd be nice to follow up on the answers instead of just asking the person straight up, like, what do you think our biggest opportunities are? At least it gives them an idea, like, these are the things we want to talk to them about. But I don't know. I mean, it may still be a little too much to ask before the interview, but
I
that
think
way they
it's
can,
good. It narrows it down for the interview. Like, where do we
yeah,
need to go
yeah,
in? We don't have very
right.
much time on an interview.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's good.
Okay. Erica, what are your thoughts?
On section 4, I just want to include something that talks about the time commitment. I think we need to be transparent about that, because that has been one of the biggest complaints, is that we are not transparent about the time that we need to dedicate to the board meetings. I know right now with the transitions and things that we've had going on, we are dedicating a lot more time than traditionally what we have done in the past, and I hope that that changes. But I do think that we need to be transparent to people so that they understand the time commitment, because right now our meetings are longer. There's a lot of documentation to read and prep work that goes into before and after meetings. So to just give people a heads up and not just the expectation of, oh, it's going to be 2 hours a month, because it's not.
Yeah, an answer. Okay, sounds good. I wrote notes, so I can do a split between the two, or I could create a split of the form, and then I don't know. Do we need to vote on this to actually implement it, or do we just move forward? Because we're not taking it. I mean, do we need? I don't think we need to take it to the full board. I mean, we could, but
I think it
because
would be
it's not
nice to
it's
take
not
it
like
to
a
the rest of the
policy.
board for feedback, but at this point, we
Okay.
would just recommend that it goes to the full board for feedback to have input.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. All right. Okay. So then, yeah, we could maybe add it to just like in the same section, the information and discussion section in one of the next regular board meetings. Okay, sounds good. All right. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments on that line item?
Nope.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is 2B, review agenda public comment information. Tammy?
Sorry about that.
No, no,
So this is
share it
looking
as well.
at the public comment. We've at our last meeting, we had people that came on online, and we really didn't have protocols
Yeah,
in place for that. So this is updating that. I'm trying to get it open here just a second.
yeah. I can also project.
Um,
Okay. So my presumption it's the yellow part, right, that we wanted to focus on?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
sounds good.
So basically just adding this in, we kind of reformatted. Looking at the old one, the way it was written, things were kind of jumbled together. So we reformatted it to be easier to read, broke things down into the different bullet points. So the written comments, they need to be submitted to the ED assistants. This is the second bullet there, no later than 30 minutes before the start of the meeting. That's just to stop us from getting things at the last minute, because then we may miss them, and we really do want to hear from everybody. We want to encourage people, to share. And so I think this opens that up more for them. And then also just like the bullet on the presentations being limited to 3 minutes. None of that's changed. It was just reformatting.
For this one, the written comments for the area where it says 30 minutes before the start of the meeting, I'd like to give more time. I feel like that is last minute, that if people are able to send stuff, it means that admin staff has got to be checking things 30 minutes before the
Mhm.
board meeting, and that feels really tight. I'd like to back up the time so that it's not 30 minutes.
Do you want to are you thinking more like an hour, or are you thinking more like 24 hours?
I mean, originally I was thinking 24 hours, but I want to encourage staff and anybody in the public really to speak up and say something. And so even I had suggested originally maybe like 8 o'clock in the morning. That time was suggested. Well, maybe we want to give them more time than that. So like by 10 a.m. Because again, it's a board meeting day. I want staff to be able to focus on the board meeting and not let's make sure that we're getting last minute commentary. All that to say, comments are important. We value everything that goes out there, whether it comes in before a board meeting, after a board meeting, during a board meeting, because I've seen those too. But I just want to make sure that we are giving adequate time on both sides. Ideally, the public knows about the meetings coming up 72 hours at minimum in advance, sometimes even, well, usually more because they're scheduled. But that being said, to know exactly what's coming on the agenda at 72 hours, I want to give admin staff enough time to be able to gather all the information. And then Laura and I had talked about whether or not we needed to have somebody on staff read the documents, because I know other boards, when they get written comments, sometimes they read stuff. Sometimes it's just that they will share with the board and then the board can read the comments. And so we were trying to look at, I think, the Brown Act to see what is the protocol for that, on whether we had to read it out loud, because there are some people who will come and they will come here or to any of our sites in person. And I appreciate when people show up in person. I would much rather hear from that person then have somebody read the comments. Again, all comments are important, but if it's on video, it can be taken out of context. It can be pulled in different ways. And I want to protect our staff who are potentially reading those comments to just make sure that people understand that somebody is reading it versus somebody else is saying it. I hope that makes sense. But just kind of wondering, what is the protocol or what are the requirements for, do we have to read it out loud? Can it just be stuff that is sent to the board and then we read it? We can read it in the board meeting, because I've seen ACOE do that where the comments have been sent and then they get, like 2 or 3 minutes to read all the comments during the meeting. But I'm just wondering what the protocols are on that.
And I think because we've seen different boards do it different ways, I think we can set how we would like to do it. And maybe we, put in a couple bullets on here that if they would like the ED assistants to read it out loud on their behalf, check this box. And if they would like it just to go to the board members for them to look at and read on their own during the, we could pause so you guys would have time to read them there during the board meeting, but you'd read it, privately to yourselves. We could also give that option. So it could be either or. So that's answering that. The other, I would like to defer to Laura and Amy. I kind of like the idea of have your anything in by, I don't want to say noon, because what if we change the time on the board meeting, but we could say 5 hours or 4 hours prior to the board meeting, because that hour before they are busy getting set up and, it might be hard to check and see if anything has come in. So we could say something more 4 hours prior to the start of a board meeting, all submissions must be in.
I think that's a good idea, because if there's a lot of them, then that takes time to compile. And I think that more time would be good.
I was wondering, okay, so we have the form for when people want to speak publicly in person. And so the form, sorry, I haven't memorized it. It's not ingrained in my brain, but I think it's name and maybe, I don't know if it's their address or location. Is that what's on there, Laura? Sorry. When they want to speak, the public speaking form.
I believe it's just their name, and I can go get one and look at it.
Okay.
But,
So sorry. So where I'm going with this is that instead of instead of requesting the comments in email, what if we created a form instead? Just because then it's time stamped, so we can we can set it up where the submission is time stamped, and then that way we can just I'm thinking it would be easier for Amy and Laura to they can just, it'll be, because it'll be in table format, they can just highlight all of the rows for that agenda, copy it, put it into a new file, and then if people are reading, if people are not reading it out loud, that new file can then just be shared with the board that day, so that they don't have to find all these different random emails in their accounts.
No, it's a good idea, because we would hate to have missed one because it was an email in the ED assistant.
Right.
I mean, we had it going just to the one email, but things can get lost.
Right, because that email is also for other, I mean, it's used not just for public comment, right? It's used for other things. And then also in the form, we could then ask, do you want this publicly read or just for private viewing by the board or something, or whatever the proper verbiage would be, but we can indicate that.
And so maybe we should do 5 hours prior to the board meeting starting, because then Laura and Amy could put, time on their calendar to then go in, make sure the spreadsheet's all ready, get everything make sure everything's done, and send it on to the board. So that way you guys have time also to review if you want to prior to the meeting.
Was the point of having it 15 minutes before or 30 minutes before for the public when they come in, if they like just last minute, they fill out the form and then they are able to speak?
That's different.
Okay.
So the speaking one is different. They can show up even during the meeting.
And
I
they can
think,
still,
and still fill out, as long as they fill out the form so that we know that they're
they don't
here
have
for
to be
public
5
speaking.
hours before.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah. In
Yep.
person is totally different. It's just the online ones because we want to make
Okay.
sure that we capture everything. But we don't currently have a protocol for that.
Right.
So we need to
Okay.
set something so
Mhm.
that
I
then
just wanted to
everybody
make sure
knows.
we weren't excluding a group of people that might
Oh.
not be doing that online. They would be coming here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, in person is different.
Okay.
I guess I do also have a question for Amy and Laura. What are your thoughts about reading comments out loud that are not your own? Because, and the reason I say this is because we are live streaming. We have YouTube recordings, and I'm just saying, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Like someone can record, they can edit, they can post, and someone may think it's your opinion because they have edited out who you're speaking for. So my question is, how do you feel? Are you comfortable reading other people's comments? Would you rather just send the comments to us for the written? Because what Eric has said earlier, ACOE, they allow people to do the written and in person, and the written is just shared electronically with the board, during the meeting, and then people obviously will speak at the microphone. So I wanted to
Mhm.
get your feedback, and even Tammy, right? Like, what are your thoughts? Because
Yeah,
some comments can be more on the sensitive side, right? So
yeah, and I understand what you're saying. And I know I coached, Amy last time to start off with, on behalf of so and so, and then again at the end saying the name. But you're right, somebody could edit that out and it could look then like it's their remarks. So they are, the assistants to the board and the spokesperson for the board. So it's okay for them to do it, but I like, Jennifer, that you're asking them like if they're comfortable doing that or if they would prefer to just have the information go to the board and you guys could look at it. I'm good either way. I think the only downside is that I think staff would want their comments publicly out there. That's why they're sending them in unless they mark the box that they don't want it read publicly. Um, so it kind of limits that, but there's always the option to come in person to do that. We've also in the past had people come and read on behalf of somebody. So we have had people come up to the podium and say they're reading something on behalf of somebody else. So, but yeah, Laura, Amy, what do you guys think?
I'm good either way. I don't have a problem with it. Either way.
And I'm good with it. Like Erica said, though, somebody might say, or might, mean it in some way, but we're just reading it. But I mean, I really don't mind reading it out loud. But it does get it out there in the public, and I think the public needs to know how the staff feels. So I will do whatever. I'm good with both ways.
okay.
Well, and to also just point it out there, because we've already had it happen, that you guys also have to be comfortable that if they name names, I mean, we don't take it against you guys at all. People can say freedom of speech, the First Amendment. People can say all the things that they want. We welcome all the comments, but also be comfortable in being like, yeah, if I'm about to say something negative, don't take it offensively or personally. Any of the things, we do not hold anybody accountable in that way. We want to hear, even if it's directed at each one of us, we want to hear all the comments. So, but also be aware of that.
I just ask that I don't know about Laura, but if I'm going to be reading it, I would like some time to read through it. So if I'm not understanding it or I have issues every once in a while with really big words. So if I can't pronounce a word, I would like to have time so I can work on getting it through. So having a certain amount of time before the meeting would be great if I'm going to be reading it. So
I'm glad that you brought that up because that was one of the things that I had thought about afterwards is you guys read at different paces. What if there's a really long one and it goes over the 3 minutes and then we have somebody who's upset because it didn't get the whole thing wasn't read and it's like, well, I could read it faster. I mean, we're going to come up against different bumps along the way and things will just have to have other people understand that like, yep, you have 3 minutes or less, which actually is something that should be, I think it's bullet point 4 that talks about there's 3 minutes, but if we are only giving the whole group of people 15 minutes, I think we came close or went over this last time. So either we want to potentially adjust to 20 minutes to give more opportunities, but also we should put in there that it's 3 minutes or less. So that way we can accommodate people in person and commentary either via email or being spoken by staff.
So let me ask a question. Jennifer, did you say that they were going to put them in a folder and then we get access to them before the meeting?
Well,
Is that what you were saying?
I was thinking like a form, like a Google form, any type of Google form, Survey Monkey, whatever, any of those type of electronic forms so that they're time stamped when they come in.
So if we
Because
were to get them before, we would be able to read them. So them reading only 3 minutes of it doesn't matter. Does it?
Yes, as long as we get access to the ones that are being read. So the reason why I say it that way is because
It's
we have
almost better to send it in because then the board's going to read it directly. They're only reading 3 minutes of it.
Correct. Well, so right now, at least the way that it happened last time was documentation was read out loud, but the board didn't get that documentation also sent to them as far as I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I asked for that documentation because I am a visual person. I like to read things. I listen, of course, but it sinks in better for me personally when I also read it, which is why I'd asked for the documentation so we can get it. But that doesn't mean that every board member is going to ask for that documentation. So we can include it on there also that maybe it's just an automatic, the file that we're creating where people send in information, whether it's read out loud or not, automatically gets released to the board 3 hours before the board meeting, or I don't know. I don't know what the timeline would work on that because I don't know how you ladies work on board day. I'm assuming you guys are busy. So whatever timeline you guys figure out, but that could be something too. So that way the board has access to read it before the board meeting.
I would say if we could put them in a Survey Monkey or something where we're getting this stuff or a folder, then the handwritten ones, it wouldn't depend on the person reading the full thing. Yes, they're reading them for public acknowledgement, but they would be also put in a public place for people to read them. And then we could read them. So the handicap of someone reading that stuff wouldn't affect that.
That's fair.
And I say handicap in like just the holding back, not the, yeah. But then someone live in person, they only have 3 minutes to read their statement.
Or less, depending
less,
on the
yes.
board chair minimizing that time. I have yet to actually minimize anybody's time, but I have seen other meetings where they have like 20 people who want to come.
We cut Lindy off.
Oh yeah, you're right. We did cut Lindy off. I forgot about
She
that.
was so close. Yeah. And
know,
we
she was-
said 3 minutes.
Well, and those are the ones too, where it's like, I wish that it was submitted in writing because I would like to hear the rest of it. So, I mean, yeah, I
But
want to hear what
as-
people have to say.
right. And then kind of going, elaborating I thought you were going, Erica,
Yeah.
was that at like ACOE, for instance, when they have so many people commenting, you think you're going in there to speak for 3 minutes and they're like, you get 1 minute, you get 2 minutes, right? Like, so they completely chop your time, depending on how many people there are.
Is that
So
because they've counted how many people want to speak and they're like, this is what we can
Mhm.
allot everyone?
yeah, yeah.
We
Yep.
rarely have anyone coming in here. It's going to be the
Agreed.
people that send in, right?
Correct.
We have
Correct.
that more. And I would rather have that where I can read it and then we're just publicly acknowledging it within a time frame that could even be 2 minutes, but it's publicly made available for me to read, for the board to read, for the public to
For the people to read, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I
see
mean,
what you're
that's the
saying. Yeah,
thing
yeah, I
is,
get it. I get it.
yeah, I mean, we want to be transparent. We want to be front
Yeah.
facing on everything that we possibly can be.
Yeah, so if you
So,
send it
like,
in,
way.
you might not have their full thing read, but your comment will be made known to the board, the full comment in writing and to the public. We can, like, and that could cut those down to a minute or two.
Yeah.
Of reading. I don't know.
Or
Those are my thoughts.
Eventually keep it at 15 instead of changing it to 20. I mean, again, I think we've been pretty good with the 15, except for the last meeting, which I think, what, 22 minutes is where we ended up maybe, but I mean, again, once in a blue yonder is not bad. But also I say that to encourage people to come out, come to our board meetings, speak up. We want to hear.
And you guys have the authority to extend that time or allow somebody to continue.
Correct. I mean, the only reason why I don't suggest adding on a whole bunch of time or making it go longer is, as we all know, we had that one board meeting that was 7 hours.
I know.
And so then, extending it like another 30 minutes just to accommodate everybody, while I would love to be able to do that, I also I want to respect everybody else's boundaries. Not all of our board members want to spend 8, 9 hours in a big old board meeting. But yes, I agree with you, Tammy.
Yeah, I don't want to discourage anyone from coming out either. But I do want to hear their points of view. And I think the staff need to know they can come and send an email. You can send an email to all 7 board members. You don't have to go, it doesn't have to be elaborate. You can send it to us so we can hear your thoughts. We want to hear from the staff.
Yeah, I think, and that might be something that we may want to add to the website as well, is more of a, if, I mean, it's not specific to the staff, but just to anyone, right? Like if you have any, if there's anything that you want to communicate, and we may want to put in some statement regarding that, we can't always respond, or, or we can respond, but we may not, we can't make decisions.
Yeah.
And but have that on the website potentially with that I don't know, maybe that generic web email address for the board.
Yeah.
Something
Well, I
like
think if they send it to all 7 of us and realize that they don't, you're not going to get a response, but all 7 of us
that. Well, at
act
least,
as one, right?
yeah, yeah.
So you can send it to us. It doesn't have to go through Tammy or Laura, sorry. I don't know why I'm saying that. Amy, too many E's. It can come directly to the 7 board members.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you want
I
to move
guess
forward with this?
So back to the agenda, I think Jennifer, you're trying to get back. So
Yeah.
I do like the bullet points. I think that they need to be added, changed in the agenda. It makes it very clear. It's not
Yeah,
a paragraph.
that did better.
The only thing that we are in conversing about is the time and how to get the time limit and how to get those to the board so that we're not taking up so much time here. Well, I guess I'm saying that wrong because I want to take up time on people's comments and people that have opinions, but I also think that it can be organized where it goes into a folder, we can see it. And there does need to be a time limit. Those are my thoughts.
And so we can organize it into a folder. That's not a problem. We can get that done and organized in, and then update the time to, we want to say 4 hours prior to a board meeting.
I think that's enough time. I think 4 hours.
Okay.
And we can create a form that we can put on the website for each meeting that they can fill out. Then that'll be for the public comments that we can compile and then make them available to you and then the public as well. Okay.
Yeah,
And
the
then do
time
we
limit is
wanna-
really up to you. It's what you and Amy can do. So that will leave in your.
Do we want to put an option in there that if they want it read out loud, or are we going to just leave it that the board reviews them?
I mean, like,
Oh, you can have a check on it that says
A
you want it read
checkbox,
out
that's what I'm
loud.
thinking.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But
Okay.
if it's read out loud, it might not be completely read out loud, depending on the length of it, but we will see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
I
want to
think
make
it's,
sure.
yeah,
Yes.
for me, on the form, the important fields are like name and the timestamp. And I say that this because if we are requiring people to fill out a request to speak form if they were to come in person, where I'm going with this is I don't want anonymous comments being sent and read out loud during a board meeting. I think people have to, like, as much, I want everyone, I want whoever wants to comment, but they also need to identify who they are in the comments.
So on the online form, we need to make sure that the name field is on there, and maybe we can put required.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you guys do use Google Forms, I think there's an option to do like collection of there's
Yeah.
like some automatic collection. I forget what it's called, sorry, but there is some feature on that.
Yeah, it'll
Um,
collect their name and
yeah.
email.
Yeah. The other thing too, yeah, never mind. Sorry. Yeah, that's all. And then are we keeping the fourth bullet where we talk about time? Are we going to leave it as is?
Can I
I
just
think
say, I just
go
want to
ahead, sorry.
say, I remember when we were using the public, because we had a form that we used, a speaker request form online during COVID. And I believe that we couldn't require a name because of the Brown Act.
All right, can you do some research on that?
Yeah, we can check into that.
Okay. I think if that's the case, then my opinions change significantly. Sorry about that. Because again, when we request, like if people want to come to the meeting and request to speak, they have to fill out the form, which includes their name. So
I
I
don't
don't,
think they're required to fill out the form. I think we asked them to fill out the form, but I don't think they're required to.
but we're saying here that if they want to address the board, they fill out the form. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
but
are
I
you
think what
saying that it's
Laura's
not
saying is
required by the Brown Act?
yes, that we asked for that, but it's really not required by the Brown Act. But it sounds like we need to do a little digging so
Yeah.
we can do some research and look into that, and then get back to all of you before
Okay.
we make changes,
So I mean,
permanent changes.
I don't think that it's going to be a requirement from the Brown Act because the Brown Act is not it's about transparency, right? From the board's perspective, right? Like we have to be transparent to the public. That's my general understanding of the Brown Act. But I feel that if every school is given the autonomy to provide, our rules and how we are going to coordinate speakers and public comment, and as long as we are not restricted from making it a requirement, then um, then I feel strongly about we require identification of the person. I mean, has anyone gone to a public meeting, whether at our authorizers, and where someone's commenting and they don't say their name?
They don't get to ask their question. Is that what you're asking?
No, like at ACWE, Waterford, or Modesto Unified.
They ask them to state their name first.
Yes.
Right. Like that's not like no one can ever go
Mhm.
up there and just start speaking, right? They have to state their
Right.
name.
You have to state your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us look into it for the
Okay.
online, and then we can get back with everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
So we're saying that people that are coming in can still come in
Mhm.
and make a public comment. They just have to fill out a form here present. And people that don't want to be present at a meeting can send in their comments whether it be online or in person, people that might not be able to come to a meeting, this is an option for them to send in their comments before a board meeting and have them read.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Is there anything else on that item? Okay.
Nope.
Let's see. The next item is C, review board training summit agenda. Not sure if we have anything on that yet. Tammy?
Yeah, we don't have anything concrete on that. We did send out the letters to each of the board members yesterday with the trainings that need to be completed. So since we're not doing them at the summit, we wanted to make sure we got that out to everybody with the links so the training, could start being worked on. So that was pulled from the summit. I am still working with Lisa Core on dates. Right now, her availability is for August 27th and 28th, which is what the majority of the board members requested as being available. So we're working with her on getting that time situated, and then we'll build the calendar around that. I was just speaking with her again last night, and she thinks she can do all day on the 27th. So now we can start building our agenda around that and get it out to you guys and make sure it's everything that you guys would like to see happen on those 2 days. And I believe we have it on the next board meeting to approve those dates because we had approved the July ones. So we need to approve the August ones.
So for the date, was the 27th, 28th the consensus from everyone else?
From the majority of the board,
Yeah.
everybody was available those 2 days, except we haven't heard back from 2 people. So we're still trying to get, and then the alternative one was like the 13th and 14th.
Okay.
But so far, everybody but 2 said they were available on the 27th and 28th.
Was September ever an option though?
We didn't ask about September mainly because we need to get some things done and have our, summit and kick the
Okay.
year off. So
Last year it
going
was in September.
I think it was like the first week of September.
Yeah.
So doing it the last 2 days of August puts it, very close to September.
Okay.
So for the summit, do we plan on having training in person, or are we going to just have more like strategic planning, team building, things of that nature?
Yeah, well, what you guys had requested was team building. So we're working on some team building activities and also having the directors present for part of the time. So the board and directors can collaborate and, get to know each other better and talk about, our school goals. And also, I think really looking at that, the LCAP goals, our school
Yeah.
goals, where we're at, what you guys would like to see, um, movement on those. And then Lisa Core will do the presentation as you guys kind of talked about, not necessarily Brown Act training, but more like the top 10 things that a board should do and the top 5 mistakes they make or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
she's going to really focus it around there
That sounds
and
good.
kind of do like what's the board's role, what's my role, what's the staff's role.
Mhm.
So I think it'll be really empowering.
I
She's a
like that.
great speaker. She's a wonderful speaker. I think you guys will absolutely love her. She's very engaging.
Okay, that sounds great. Um, so there's something that I did not have. It was something that I was thinking about proposing, but I didn't have time to finalize my idea for this meeting. Um, and it had to do with the summit, but it was more like so I don't know if it's really appropriate for the summit. The only reason I thought it was is just because if we're talking about strategic planning,
Me-
um, but it would be something like where we have kind of your major or your major departments or however like you would um allocate all the major departments of the school, right? So like academics, sped, business ops, um, you know, whatever, all
Yeah.
the like large departments. And my thoughts were that uh, we would give them kind of, I forget, like it's pretty brief. It's like 10 minutes max to kind of go over, um, sorry, kind of like the highlights of it's a little different from what we have them do, like when they come in to speak to us about their departments. It's very like focused on like LCAP and how their departments affect LCAP and so like things that so that we would give them the opportunity. And I have like this template and everything that I was thinking about sharing, which would so like every department would fill out the exact same template, some
Hmm.
modifications of like academics versus like more the business side of things. So they would be similar but slightly altered depending on which part of the business, which part of the school that they work on. But it would be really focused on LCAP and like what worked last year, what didn't work, their plans, moving forward, like short-term plan, maybe a few year out plan. Um, and I was thinking that way, if we hear from everyone first, then when we actually do strategic planning, we're a little more informed than like trying to remember all that people have said, throughout the whole school year up until that moment in time. So um, once I kind of get my thoughts onto paper, I will share that with you, Tammy, um, just to see what you think. But because I
I
think it
think
would be
it's,
really helpful.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
No,
there.
that's
I
okay.
have a little bit of a delay.
That's okay.
Uh,
I was just thinking it's helpful because we don't all know what every like we have heard extensively from certain departments, which is great. But like I'm the worst. I forget after a couple months, and so it'd be nice if we can kind of get like that snapshot right before we go into these like strategic planning discussions. So that's like me thinking out loud. So yeah.
Yeah. And I love the idea. I think it's a great idea because, we also kind of want to reformat the presentations for the board, which we'll talk about at the summit also.
Yeah, yeah.
But my only concerns is that coming off of the year that we had, and our new accountability director is just getting started at the end of this month.
Right.
So it might be better. We have a leadership summit
Mhm.
planned in September, and
Okay.
that's when all of those heads kind of come together. So
Okay.
it'd be kind of nice if we could have this formatted and do it then with them, kind of walk them through what we're
Oh yeah,
looking
yeah,
for and why, and
yeah.
kind of really brief them. And then maybe we can have an extended board meeting
Mhm.
at a later time during the year
Okay,
that
yeah.
then they could come and present. I'm just thinking we need to do a little background with them first.
Yes.
And I really want Cindy to feel empowered um, with the LCAP, but this would be a good way too for her to kind of get her foot in there with leadership, with the coordinators and working on this. And it helps build what we want to establish with the LCAP goals really being our board goals. So I really do like the idea. I'd love to play with it, but I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
that maybe instead of doing it in August, but I can talk to Cindy and see what she thinks. It's
Okay.
just hard to gather everybody together because they really don't come back to work,
Yeah.
and then they've got a lot. We kick off right away with all of our rallies and our new ES training and professional development and all staff. So it might be better for us to do it actually at the leadership
Okay.
summit,
Yeah.
our all day event.
Yeah. I'll forward you my thoughts on paper.
Okay. I
And then
like
we can
that.
go from it because I don't want it to be like super cumbersome, right? Like
Yeah.
the goal is to be brief, to the point, communicate certain things to the board so that we are informed. Because what I don't want to do, right? Like if we're going to kind of change our focus at the summit, which is, strategic planning and LCAP, I don't want it. I mean, I want it to be super fruitful, right? Like I don't want us to come up
Mhm.
with unrealistic goals
Yeah.
because we don't have that background knowledge. I want for us to ensure that when we come up with a goal that, you know, we're we have the information, we have the background information from everyone. And I don't know, it's just, yeah, I don't want to,
I
yeah.
think I think it'll help though with having the directors there because we
Oh,
could
yes,
do a
that's true. Yes,
spin-off of
correct.
this with the
Yes,
directors.
yes,
So we
that's
could
true.
start with the directors and have them fill out these forms for the board.
Yeah, yeah,
Start with them and
yeah.
then move it down to the departments at leadership.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, because that's what we're, meeting for is for the directors and the board to really get on the same page and have the same
Yes.
goals moving forward.
Okay, yeah. So maybe, yeah. So I'll forward you what I have, and then let us know if you think that the directors can do can
Yeah.
fill out, yeah, can prepare for, and then it kind of helps maybe start the conversation with with everyone,
Yeah.
like with each of the departments and stuff, or
I
with each
like
of the
that.
directors, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
cool.
they oversee the department. So I think that would flow nicely.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Okay. um
Can you also look at a September option as well? I'm just saying because I have surgery at the beginning of August, so that's why I couldn't do the 13th and 14th. So the 27th and the 28th are okay options, but there might be a better option for everyone in the board if it was in September.
Okay.
Thank you.
but going back on that, Tammy, if there's something that we need to approve though, maybe just have a regular meeting in August instead.
Yes, I wouldn't cancel the regular
Yeah,
meeting
yeah,
because in case there's something.
right.
Can I just go back and clarify, why are we trying to have this summit in August versus September? Or is it just we're trying to have a regular board meeting?
No, we're trying to, well, we have a regular board meeting already scheduled for August, but our training was
Yeah.
scheduled for July. So we're already pushing it out, 5 weeks to move it to August. And so then if we move it to September, we're pushing it out even further. And it's a good way to start the year, is why we were trying to not move it from July clear to September. That's why we were trying to do it in August. Plus it gets us all, with the directors all on the same page moving forward. So, but if you guys want it in September, I have no problem asking about September, but that's why we just asked about August because it was the next month after July.
I just was thinking with everything that you had said about the staff and having different leadership meetings and things like that, it would be nice that, like, I like Jennifer's idea of what she was saying of gathering stuff from staff. And if staff are meeting in September, then maybe we have our summit afterwards, because then we can have the collective information from staff as well as, do our board get together. For me, the summit I thought was, of course, we need to do our trainings, but if we're doing those online, those can happen and we can still hit those deadlines. But more to just make sure that we are truly flowing in the same path as the school and that we're all on the same page when it comes to our LCAP, the expectations, what staff is wanting. And so having staff kind of do their thing first and then the board coming in afterwards and being like, hey, okay, so now that you guys figured out what you want to do for the school year, share with us, and then we can all move together on the same path, to me makes a little more sense. So I'd
And
also like to push it. Go ahead.
we could have another summit. We could have another all day thing to get together to work on it afterwards, that's fine too. I just think there's some things that we really need to address and get on the same page at the beginning of the school year.
Sure.
So we have a lot of new staff coming in, directors and stuff, and I just think it would be good for us to have an opportunity, even if it's just one day, even if we just do it August 27th. We could just make it one day and then do one day in September, October.
And those are things that would be covered that are different than at what we would do at a regular board meeting?
Yeah, this would be when Lisa Core would be coming from Young Mini and Core.
Okay.
Because we asked them clear back in like February, March to come. So remember we had our July dates and Jerry Simmons was going to come. And then he ended up having to ask Janelle to come. And then now Lisa Core has requested to come. So
I think having her speak with us, specifically those topics, I think earlier the better. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to the two full days separate. Was the 27th the only day that she's able to make it though?
and that's why I don't have a definitive.
Okay.
She's 90% sure she can do all day on the 27th.
I see.
But she can do the 28th from 1 o'clock forward. So she's trying to get a better answer if whether she can commit to the 27th. So that's why that's kind of on hold there.
Okay.
So
I think maybe if your team, I mean, they can communicate with us, right? Freely. We just can't communicate with each other freely. So just keep us informed with like the dates and stuff.
Most definitely. So, and now I'll ask her about September to see what she has available. Maybe early on in September. Would that work for you, Kristen?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask her.
Thank you for your flexibility. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay. Any other comments about the summit? Not comments, discussions.
No.
Okay. And then the next item is the job description for board member. So this was also something that I was working on a long time ago. And I was hoping that we can formalize it and put it on our website so that when we are asking people if they're interested in serving on our board, we actually have something to share with them and not just a, 2-minute off the top of our head type of, summary of what it would mean to serve on the board. So in the documentation tab, there's a draft. The file name is called Draft Job Description Board. And that's in there. And this is a combination. So this is drafted from Charter Schools Development Center. I took information from them. They have their own they have a lot of templates for people, like new schools, new and I'm not going to say established schools, but their book that is it Catlin Heller, she wrote. So like her book and then their website, they have like a lot of great resources. And so I took the template that they had and then information from like our website and like mush it together to create something. So if the committee can look through this and also the team can look through this, and if we can provide, like if you guys could provide feedback, and then maybe we can formalize it next month at our meeting.
Yeah, thank you for putting this together, Jennifer. I started reading it, but I didn't have a chance to finish, so
Yeah,
I
and
would
I
like to do
apologize.
that.
I uploaded it last night.
Yeah, I
But
know
I
it
figured
was getting late.
yeah, we were voting on it, and I figured all I wanted to do was just like present, like give it to everyone, and it's like, here, let's start. Considering this. So that's why I was like, okay. And again, I was out of town, and I just wasn't in board
No, you're
mode.
good. You're good because we also, I mean,
Yeah.
this is what we want to do is start building, more on the website. So I like having the information out there. Also, speaking of CSDC, I agree with you.
Mm.
They're great resources. They have wonderful things for us to pull from and use. But that was another thing we thought of doing at the summit is CSDC has a self-assessment tool
Oh
that we
yeah.
thought would be good. So
Yes.
we're going to
Yes.
try to incorporate that in
Yeah.
also. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I like that. They yeah, I love this book. It was great. I remember when I read through it and all my like that was like little all of my tabs. Anyway, it's a great resource. Um, I was when Catelyn was here last year, I was just asking. I'm like, my only feedback. I wish she had an index so I could find things
Oh,
faster. Or if she maybe creates an ebook in the future, so I could do a find because there were moments like I read things and then like I couldn't find it again, or I couldn't find it again, and I had to reread it, like parts of it again. So that was my only feedback. I'm like, an index would have been great, for
yeah.
keywords and stuff. But otherwise, I think it's great. It's a good resource. Um, okay, yeah. So everyone, if like y'all can take a peek at it, some of the things obviously are not applicable for us. But I at the time I tried to take the template and and again other things from our own website and put it all together, and then kind of go from there. Oh, I did like there's a time commitment section. I don't know if that's realistic. I said 4 hours per month at the time. And there's the term length, that there's no compensation. It's addressed. Um, I think we could probably get rid of the application deadline section. And unless we were actively recruiting at that time, then I guess we can include it. But so yeah, just take a look at it and then um, come up with your feedback and then we can finalize it maybe next month, ideally, just so we have it on our website. Erica, Kristen, anything on that?
I have no.
No.
Okay. All right, moving on to 3A, review and recommend to the board to approve the managing director reports policy. Oh, so I don't know if this is ready. I'm sorry. And again, I didn't look at the agenda. I know I was talking with Erica when I was out of town and I was like, I think it's fine. Like the agenda's fine. I don't know if this is ready for approval. So we should probably review this. So the goal of this item was to ensure that employees that report to the board that, in case there was any confusion as to like, how the resources, how the centralized resources should be utilized and so forth. So I was working on a kind of like a work instruction, although I called it a policy, to kind of talk about that. And this is obviously not a template. And yes, I did use AI to help me. So, but it talked, so we have the purpose and, like why we have it. And it's just to ensure that kind of we're covering certain aspects of our logistics, and just like kind of reiterating things. So, please feel free to read, obviously, on your own. But kind of the major sections are the operational framework and system alignment. So from like personnel policy, we're just like plainly stating that everyone's still, anyone who reports to the board are still bound by the employee handbook. And then the utilization of the shared systems. And this was just to, again, clarify that the executives need to utilize our personnel department, payroll, back office tracking systems. And for me anyways, and I don't know how the rest of you guys feel, so I'd like to hear your feedback. It's important that we just try to use the same systems and that there's no like separate, processes for executives, just so that we have maintained consistency and to ensure like, the transparency and all that kind of stuff. So that's what 3.2, that section is all about. And then section 4 has to do with like 4.1 specifically is about the calendar. I think the calendar for the executives in the past, it's been a process, Erica, yes, but it wasn't like it was never in writing, right? So it was like it needs to be done, but it was never in writing. So I wanted to ensure that it was in writing somewhere. And then 4.2, this was also something I don't remember if it was ever in writing, but it was like I know that like our previous board as well, like previous time in the board, we've kind of verbally had said that, we want to ensure that we have like executive leadership available at all times. So, so this section's about, ensuring that, that there's always one of our executives, available at all times while others are on vacation or leave. So that's what 4.2 is about. And then 4.3, is about more like giving everyone's like providing the board a heads up of like when people when the executives are going on vacation or leave. So there's just different time restraints just for like planning purposes and giving everyone a heads up. And then obviously, if there's an emergency, we will, emergencies are emergencies. Of course, that's going to happen. And it's very understandable. And then section 5 is about evaluation and accountability. I think this part, like 5.1 is nice to have at least written down. And I think honestly, I think it would be I don't know if we would always need it, but I think it's important for the public to understand the difference between the board's role and the ED's role. I think it's it's just because we don't clarify it all the time. I think it gets, muddied up, and it's just good for us to know that, like we're like the board's governance and then the ED is all about managing the school and executing like towards those goals. So that's
I say
5.1.
two
Yeah.
things before I forget? Because one,
Yeah, of course.
the emergency leave, I would like to see that. I don't think we should vote on this today. I
Yeah.
think that this is a working document for right now.
Yep.
I think the emergency leave needs to be laid out a little bit more in detail
Yeah.
of exactly what that looks like for everyone. And then evaluations and accountability, I would like to add to the discussion, not just an annual evaluation. I think that it should either be quarterly or semi-annually that we do that. So we end a semester with an evaluation, and the spring with an evaluation, and then there's an overall annual one that goes into place. For better record keeping. And I mean, I think we just need more things documented by the board, and that would give us the chance to do them. Not to necessarily put someone under scrutiny that many times, but it's just better record keeping. Like, this is how we ended the fall semester. This is, and this is how we're ending the spring. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that idea. I think it helps prevent any surprises at the end of the year, during a
Yes.
performance evaluation, and to ensure that everyone's in alignment still midway through the year. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, and then also something might have gone off the rails for the fall that we need to the executive director wants to realign, like, hey, we
Yeah.
started this project. I had no idea that this was going to happen, and I want to tell you that this is what's happening, and then we realign the goal for the spring, with them. So it
Yeah.
gives them more support as well.
Absolutely. For 5.3, this is just and again, this was drafted a little while ago, but 5.3 is just reiterating that we're evaluating the ED. The CBO reports to us currently, or we may have to change it to CBHRO, sorry. But then they are still coordinating their daily operations with the ED. And then that probably needs to be elaborated some more, that maybe it's like the board and the ED will be conducting the performance evaluation of the CBO, something like that.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had.
Yeah.
So
I think that particularly if because this is like my opinion, like if you guys just disagree, um please say so. Like, I see the ED as like the top executive regardless of who reports to the board, right? Like, they're the top executive, and then if we have other executives that report to the board, but they're still dotted line to the ED, because the ED is the one that is running the day-to-day and we are not as the board. So I feel like the ED still it has a significant role in like the performance evaluation as well for these, for any other executives that report to us.
and I would agree, because the executive director is the one seeing the daily
Yeah,
operations.
absolutely.
And like Crispin said, you may only be doing 2 or 3 real in-depth looks
Yeah,
a year.
absolutely. Yep.
And normally, from what I've been seeing and what's been said to me, is normally the CBO would report to the executive director. And so we are doing this a little bit, unique for our schools, which is totally fine. And so I do, like how we've talked about it, they connect. They have to connect the
Yep,
board with
absolutely.
their employees and the executive director, to make sure we're all communicating and working together. So I think that's important.
I like the checks and balances though. So if you have
Mhm.
one person going off the rails, the other person is like, hey, I still report to the board.
Yeah.
And I do want to hear from the CBO in our meetings. I want them to have their monthly report to us as well. But yes, for the daily operations, or the ED would be the one looking at that, like
Mm-hmm.
setting
Yep.
direction when we're not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, section 6 is just kind of just general, just to like confirmation about like open versus closed session, like what we can talk about in closed session versus what we cannot talk about. Just a reiteration of serial meeting, that we are not going to do it. And and then the last section had to do with privacy and confidentiality. I don't know if we totally need sections 6. I don't know if we fully need section 6, because we have, and particularly for like 6.2, I think we have our own policies already that exist regarding like privacy. So I don't know if we want to talk about that, or maybe we want to just reference our existing policy. And then 6.1, I don't know. It's up to you guys if you want to keep that. But yeah,
doesn't
so
hurt to have it in there. I mean,
yeah, that's true. That is true.
it's foundational.
Yeah. So definitely, like, when you guys get a chance, I think let's do a motion to table for the next meeting. And then I think so what we would do is we would table it for the next meeting, and then at the next meeting, we would approve for recommendation to send it to the full board for approval. So that it would be like still a double approval. It would be an approval from us to propose it to the board, and then the board would fully adopt it. So that's my understanding of how like a policy would move through here.
Mhm.
Um,
And that was mine too, that
Yeah.
the governance committee wouldn't be making the final decision. They would be recommending to the board because the governance committee did all the legwork.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I'm gonna motion to table the governance oversight of executive director reports for the next meeting. Kristen Corrales, so sorry, motion that.
I second that, Erica Melton.
Okay. Amy, a roll call, please.
Come on, Amy.
Erica Milton,
Yes.
Kristen Corrales. Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Jennifer Louis Manzan.
Yes. Thank you. That motion is passed. So we will table this item until the next meeting. And then now wrapping up for closing items, 4A, committee remarks. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to comment about?
Nope. You,
Okay,
Erica?
same.
The only thing I'd like to add is we are still working, Michelle Day is working with an outside consultant on getting the truancy, manifest determination, all of that aligned for special ed.
Okay.
So we didn't have that ready for today, but we are working on that. So I wanted to put that on your guys' radar, that that is something that I want to bring before you guys to look at, because we need to make sure our independent study, our truancy, and our manifest determination, all of those things are in alignment. And so she had gotten some advice from an outside consultant that we're working on getting that put in
Great.
and seeing if that'll work for us.
That sounds great. Yeah. My only comment on those policies, I'm hoping that they can not just a review for compliance, but also a review for clarity, because they're super complex, Tammy. It's very
Yes.
confusing. So I'm hoping, please.
That's what we're working on.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
and we have to have
Yeah.
it ready for the new school year. So
Yeah,
it's a
okay.
time crunch.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. That's
Uh-huh.
my only feedback on that, because it's just, yeah, it's so complex that
Yes.
it's very confusing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. 4B is future agenda items. I think that's part of it too. Unless there's anyone else that wanted to add things to the agenda for future.
No, we just have the governance one that we added over, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that we moved over. Okay. Alrighty. All right. So then 4C is adjourning the meeting. So we'll adjourning the meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
Oh, I motion to adjourn the meeting. I'm done.
That was Kristen Corrales as the first. Erica Melton will second that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Erica Milton,
Yes.
Jennifer Louis Manzan,
Yes.
Kristen Corrales.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 9:56 a.m. Thanks, Kristen.